Welcome back to Plugged In on TV Cogeco. I'm your host, Melanie Deveau. I think we're all familiar with the Multicultural Council of Windsor and Essex County. Maybe familiar really for the food we eat and the entertainment we enjoy on those weekends in the summer, but it is so much more than that. And joining me now to talk to us about all that the MCC does here is Lisa Kolody, who is the Director of Programs
and Operations.
Welcome, Lisa.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today.
Well, there's nothing wrong with everybody being familiar with Carousel of Nations because it's such an amazing event and has been. Well, you have a big anniversary coming up.
We do. Next year we'll be celebrating 40 years of Carousel. Carousel started in the beginning with a couple of different organizations and ethnic groups getting together and wanting to do a festival, and some of them have been doing it for 40 years. So we have a great festival that wins awards across the province and across Canada in our own community. So we think it's a really good way to talk about the diversity of our community and have fun and enjoy food and music, like you said.
Well, blow your horn a little bit, because weren't you named one of the top 10 festivals?
We were. We got the Festival of Events in Ontario top 10. We also won an award for our sponsorship, for our marketing materials, and also a volunteer award. Cameron Payne's one of our long-standing volunteers, and he won an award last year. So we really went up to Toronto and cleaned up.
That's wonderful. But as I said in the introduction, you know, everybody knows about the Carousel, but there's so much more that goes on every day down at the office, isn't there, and out in the community. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, you know, who you're helping out down there, what kinds of programs you have?
Great. Yeah, the Multicultural Council, our mission is to create a harmonious society. So that really enables us to do a lot of different programs and projects in the community. So right now we have two sites. We have one downtown in the East End, and part of what we do is to welcome newcomers. We provide services for people who are new to Canada. So you can take a language class, you can learn how to find a job, you can learn how to access other services in the community. But we also have a nurse practitioner on site, because a lot of times when you're new to a country, finding health care is difficult. There's more barriers involved. So we have a nurse practitioner on site. We also provide interpretation and translation services. We have trained interpreters and translators that we work with St. Clair College to train them, so that when your people are going into their health care or legal issues, then there's interpreters and translators who are available for that. We also have funding from the government that if people who are victims of domestic abuse or sexual violence can have those interpretation translation services for free.
Oh wow, that's
so
great.
Places like Hiatus House and the police are able to access those services. So we have about 50 staff, like I said. We have those welcoming services for the community, but we also do diversity training. So we have a cultural diversity trainer on site. So, you know, workplaces are becoming much more diverse. You have people from different cultures who speak different languages, which is great, but sometimes we need ways to learn to work together more closely, to look at what some of those barriers to working together might be, and also to talk about the value of having a diverse workforce.
We are one of the most diverse cities in Canada, aren't we?
We are. We're always in that kind of top 5, top 6. About 20–25% of our population now is from another country. So we are a very immigrant-driven community, and we're very welcoming to newcomers and immigrants. We just have to provide those services until they're able to become Canadian citizens, get their own jobs, and contribute to the community.
We've seen a change over the years, though, haven't we, on who the immigrant population is? I mean, when we think about Windsor, we think, well, Italians right up front,
That's
right? You know, Italians came here a long time ago and built a lovely community, but we're seeing a lot of different cultures now. I know there's a lot of people representing African nations who are here now. We have Middle Eastern nations. I mean, it's just, I want to go and eat everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. That's one of the benefits of our community, to be really global. And you're right, we had that European wave. You know, my parents came, the Ukrainian, the Italians, all of those Greek. So they have very strong ethnic communities in the community, and they're very involved in talking about their cultures. But you're right, we're having groups now that come from Iraq, Nepal, different African communities, and they're facing different barriers to participation. So while there were issues that might have arisen from the different European cultures, now they have more different religions and there's more visual differences. So that's where we're doing more work around that. Windsor also welcomes a lot of government-assisted refugees. So when we talk about conflict in the world like we see now, Canada is one of those countries that has a real humanitarian edge to it. So we welcome the government-assisted refugees into our community, and we see a couple hundred of them every year. And as we see this conflict move forward that we're seeing now, I'm sure we'll be seeing people from those communities get welcomed into our community when they lose their own homes.
Well, you know what? The learning curve is not only for the new immigrants, it's for those of us who've been here a while too, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, for us to learn about different cultures and to learn about how they may look at things differently than we do, whether it be how they look at police, perhaps they didn't have a good experience in their homeland with the police, but here we teach them that no, the police are on our side.
That's right.
And
That's right.
That must be interesting.
And we build lots of partnerships with our local providers. There's a local immigration partnership, and we're part of that. And we reach out to the service providers like police and fire. And actually, we've been working a lot with the Windsor Police. They want to be more representative of the community and to talk to people, because you're right, there are issues around authority and what they bring with them. So we do a lot of that work. And also we do a gala in April every year, and it's called the Herb Gray Gala, where we look at champions in our community of people who really advocate for newcomers and immigrants, as well as immigrant success stories. Because sometimes you hear the negative stories, but we really want to say, here are some people who've come to this country and done very well. And so we've had past recipients like Dr. Tafor and Terry Raffi and Aruna Kushik, people who are really talking about our global community and the value it provides to Windsor, Essex County.
That's wonderful. All right, here's an odd question for you.
Okay.
If you had to pick one thing about the Multicultural Council that you really think people don't know about, what would it be?
Oh, that's tough. I think it's the training piece, and that you can come out and we can help you learn more about different cultures and having that diversity educator in place. And we do that in the schools, because we have to start early, as well as the being able to do it from a business perspective. And I think that the interpretation and translation piece, because sometimes we mention that we have that and people say, really, you do that? And you be able to provide that service. So I think it's a really invaluable service, especially for around healthcare and legal services. So I think those are the two big things. I think maybe let me add the nurse practitioner to that too, being able to have newcomer specific services available that's really culturally competent.
How many clients do you figure come through the MCC every year, the office?
We have over 40,000 clients who come through the doors.
Over 40,000?
Yeah, we have 2 sites, and we have a variety of funders. We have funding from federal, provincial, all different layers. We're always looking for grants to do new programs and services. So, and we're also funded by United Way. We're doing some projects in the Meadowbrook area that serves newcomers and the broader community, because we don't want to separate newcomers from the broader community. We want to help integrate them. So phone calls, drop-in services, language classes. If you visit our East End site, we have language classes that run Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. at night.
What's the address?
7651 Tecumseh Road East.
Okay.
And then the downtown location is right next to
Bubby's.
Bubby's.
Next to Bubby's, that's the best way to say it.
245 Jeanette Avenue. And that's where our interpretation translation services are, and the nurse practitioners at both sites.
Do you need volunteers?
We always need volunteers. We have volunteers who help with our newcomer services on site, but we also do our gala, and then of course Carousel of the Nations. The Carousel, not many people realize, one, that MCC hosts it, but also that it's completely volunteer driven. We have 1 or 2 paid staff. The rest, the villages, have representatives who are all volunteers. And then we also do Carousel by the River, which we've been doing for about the last 12 years, and it's kind of a kickoff to the carousel season. And each year we have a different theme, and we engage the communities, but we also try to have a little bit of taste of what the communities can offer. And then the villages, each, I'm sure you've been to the different villages and enjoyed them, and that's all volunteer driven, and they talk about bringing in 200, 300, 400 volunteers sometimes. If you've ever been to the Greek village, you can't run a village like that with lots of volunteer support.
Lisa, that's the one I volunteered at because my dad's Greek.
So there you go, Melanie. So I hit it right on. Yeah.
Many, many times, but all right, not to play favorites, but that's my favorite food in the whole.
Yeah. Right, Dad?
Right, Dad? Yeah, give me some Euro, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're one of the more established, and they understand the value of helping the community understand more about the Greek culture. So you'll see that there's also a museum that's a part of it. There's the food, there's the dance, and they encourage people to participate. In the last few years, the other thing we did is we had dancers from other sites visit other villages. So you have that cross-pollination of the cultures too.
The Herb Gray Awards this year, do we know who the recipients are?
No, we're just opening up nominations for April. So they will be available online. So you are looking for the Champion Award. So that would be someone who has helped the newcomer experience or really advocated for immigrants. Then you have the other award is for an immigrant who's done well in our community.
So if somebody wants to nominate someone, how do they go about doing that?
They go to our website at www.themcc.com.
Themcc.com.
Themcc.com. And all of the information is there, and we'll be opening that soon, and we close that around the end of November.
Do you find, I mean, it's easy for me to go on my computer and look up something on the internet, right? But with newcomers, how do they initially find out about what you offer? Because if they don't speak the language, I mean, who directs them to you?
That's a challenge. There are a number of newcomer serving agencies in our community, but there's not a centralized way that everybody comes into this country. You might come from the States and immigrate, you might come for a job, you might come part of a family. So we have an outreach person who does outreach in the community, we have a website, and then we do a lot of outreach through the different organizations that we work with, the schools. So depending on the situation, that's how we do some of our outreach, and we let people know the services we provide.
Well, I think what you do is wonderful, and I know I enjoy the parties every year, but the work that's done behind the scenes that people might not be aware of, well, they will now, is really awesome. Lisa, thank you for being with us today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Lisa Kolody of the Multicultural Council of Windsor and Essex County. I'll see you all down at Carousel of Nations next summer. It is always a fantastic time. And that's another wrap for Plugged In here on TV Kojiko. See you next time.
My name is SB. I love Canada because of diversity.
I love Canada because of safety.
I love Canada because of education. I like Canada because of equality. I love Canada because of multiculturalism.
Hi, my name is Mohammed. I love Canada because of my teachers.
My name is Linda Deborah, and I like Canada because of togetherness.
I love Canada because it's an independent country.
Let's practice. Okay. My name is Binya.
My name is Ali.
We love Canada because
Brotherhood.
of brotherhood.
Of brotherhood. Canada because of diversity.
My name is Faisal Faruflov. I like Canada because I like my life.
I'm Najiba. I love Canada because of freedom.
I'm Melody, and I love Canada because of justice.
I'm Rachel, and I love Canada because it's beautiful.
I'm Rose.
I'm Dorcas.
And we love Canada because it's our new home.
Nice.
Wow.